Celtic's night at Parkhead against Braga was more than just a defeat. It was a reality check. A performance that, from the opening whistle to the final moments, laid bare so many of the issues that have been simmering below the surface all season. No wonder the mood was grim. Not angry, not furious, just flat. And that's almost worse, isn't it? Because when supporters stop feeling anything, that's when you know something's badly wrong. Now, to be fair, when the game started, I actually thought Celtic had something about them. For the first 10, maybe 15 minutes, there was a bit of intensity, a bit of purpose. We looked alive to second balls, moved it about well enough, even had most of the possession and territory. But as we've seen time and time again, that's never enough. And all it took was a couple of nervy moments from Kasper Schmeichel, and the whole thing started to unravel. Let's be honest, the warning signs were there early. Within a couple of minutes, Schmeichel gave the ball away twice. Panic, not just in the stands, but on the pitch too. You could see it seep into the team. That sense of control we had early on evaporated. And from that point, we never really looked like the same side. You could feel the atmosphere shift. Then bang, Braga capitalize, and it's 1-0. Horta from 30 yards. Absolute howler from Schmeichel. I don't care what anyone says. It's a goal that simply cannot go in at this level. He tries to go with the wrong hand, makes a total mess of it. And the worst part is, we've seen it coming. This wasn't a one-off. This was building. It took me straight back to that moment at Ibrox when Joe Hart had a similar lapse. These aren't just isolated incidents. It's part of a larger pattern of our keepers making costly mistakes when we need composure the most. And with Schmeichel, the body language was telling. No urgency, no reaction. He shrugs his shoulders, has a wee moan at Negrin, but there's no ownership, no leadership. That's what worries me most. When your experienced players stop taking responsibility, you've got a real problem. Because this is supposed to be the spine of our team. Leaders, veterans, guys who've been through the wars and know how to grind out results in Europe. And they're just not turning up. Not in performances, not in attitude. And to be honest, the contrast to last season is frightening. Back then, even when we were up against it, you had belief. The fans were right there with the team, driving them forward. You go behind? No bother. Get the ball, get back at it. Now, it's like the whole place just deflates. The crowd goes quiet. The players look lost. The spark is gone. There was a moment tonight that summed it all up. Ian Aiko scores what looks like a brilliant equalizer. Finishes it well, crowd lifts. There's a glimmer of hope again. And then Ver steps in. Handball, apparently. Except it wasn't. Not even close. You watch the replays, and it's clear as day it comes off his head. No part of his arm or hand involved. But the decision stands. Goal chalked off. And I don't want to be that guy who blames the referee or VAR every time something goes against us. But this was a shocker. An absolute scandal of a decision. And the thing is, you knew, didn't you? You knew that moment killed whatever momentum we had. From then on, we weren't getting anything from that match. Even the players knew it. Heads went down. The substitutions didn't help either. I mean, honestly, what are we trying to do when we bring on Hitati and Engels? I'm not seeing a plan. I'm not seeing purpose. All I'm seeing is a team trying to patch things up with no real idea how to fix them. And that, I think, is the core issue. There's no clear identity anymore. Last season, you could see the blueprint. High energy, wide players flying down the wings, crisp passing through midfield, confidence in every phase of play, goals from everywhere. Now, it's give the ball to Tanky and hope he does something magical. That's it. That's our attacking strategy. And he was actually one of the few positives tonight. Him and young Sarah, who came on and looked lively. But it says everything that we're relying on two guys to drag us through in Europe. This isn't what Brendan Rodgers was brought back for. And look, I know it's not all on him. The recruitment has been shocking. The board haven't backed him properly. But at the end of the day, he's the manager. And this team? It's going backwards. Fast. What scares me more than the defeat itself is that sense of resignation. From the fans, from the players, maybe even from the manager. There was no anger in the stadium. No boos, no protests. Just silence. People got up and left before the final whistle. That's not passion, that's apathy. And it's creeping in all over the club. You look at that midfield, for example. Where's the creativity? Where's the leadership? McGregor looks a shadow of himself. Negrin? I still don't know what kind of player he is. Bernardo? Just faded. There's nobody there who can grab the game by the scruff of the neck and make something happen. And the drop-off from last season is alarming. At this point last year, we'd already had 5, 6 really strong performances. Now, I'm struggling to name one. And it all ties in. The lack of structure, the poor decisions from the board, the feeling that we're just drifting. Even off the pitch, it's the same. From broken facilities in the stadium to the state of the matchday experience, it's like no one at the club actually cares. There's no attention to detail, no pride. And when that attitude creeps in from the top, it filters down. The players feel it. The fans feel it. Everyone feels it. Now look, you can try and dress it up any way you want. But the truth is Celtic are in a mess. On the pitch, off the pitch, all of it. And it's not just about one bad result in Europe. It's not even just about the group stage campaign being on the brink. It's the pattern. It's the slow, steady decline from what we were building just a year ago into whatever this version of the team is supposed to be now. A side with no spark, no belief, and worst of all, no direction. You can see it clear as day in how we play. Possession for the sake of it. Slow, passive, predictable. Side to side, back to the center backs, then back to the keeper. Who, let's be honest, is the last person we want on the ball right now. And when we do try to go forward, it's desperate stuff. There's no rhythm, no third-man runs, no combinations. Just one guy on the wing trying to beat 3 players and slinging a cross. And I think he looks exciting. He's got pace, a good touch, can beat a man. But he's 21, new to the team, still learning. He shouldn't be carrying the full weight of Celtic's European hopes on his shoulders. The fact that we're relying so heavily on him tells you everything about how imbalanced this team is right now. Because if he's not on it, if he's marked out the game, that's us finished. There's no alternative route, no other outlet. The midfield is the biggest red flag for me. Once upon a time, we had players in there who could dominate games, dictate tempo, pick passes, arrive late in the box. Now, it's pedestrian. It's passive. McGregor still tries, you can see that, but he's clearly not the player he was even 18 months ago. The burst has gone. The drive has gone. And if he's not stepping up, then who is? Negrin floats through games like he doesn't quite know what he's meant to be. Bernardo got his chance and didn't take it. Hatate comes off the bench and spends more time passing backwards than pushing forward. There's just nothing there that makes you think, this guy will take control. That's the part that's missing. That talisman in the middle of the park who drags us forward. We had it with O'Reilly at points last season, but even he's looked off the boil. When he's not at his best, there's no one else. And that's not just on the players. That's on Rodgers too. Because one of the things Rodgers was praised for in his first spell, and rightly so, was his ability to get more out of players. Turn decent players into key starters. Give them confidence. Build systems that work to their strengths. This time around, I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing the opposite. I'm seeing players regressing under him. Going backwards. Losing clarity. Take the subs for example. When Sarah came on, he actually injected some urgency. Played with his head up. Drove forward. But then you look at the others that came off the bench, Hatate, Engels, later on even Maeda, and it just sapped the life out the team again. No spark. No change of tempo. No intent. Just more of the same. And what's even more concerning is that this isn't a one-off thing. You go back through our recent matches and see the same patterns repeating. We struggle to create. We go behind. We lose confidence. The changes off the bench don't make an impact. And we end up with this flat, tired performance that fizzles out. Now, in Europe you might expect that. You're up against better teams, tougher atmospheres, more pressure. But this is Braga. With respect, we're not playing Bayern Munich here. And the reality is, Braga didn't even need to be great to beat us. They were organized. They were clinical. They sat back after the goal and waited for mistakes. And that's exactly what we gave them. Mistakes. Nervous defending. Sloppy passes. Soft midfield. And that's the worst thing, they didn't even need a plan B. One goal was probably always going to be enough. Because when we go behind now, there's no fire. No belief that we can come back. Even when Ian Ako put the ball in the net, and what a finish it was, by the way, we weren't allowed that moment. VAR took it away, and the team just collapsed again. But let's be real. We shouldn't be in a position where we need to rely on dodgy VAR calls going our way to get results. We should be good enough to control these games. We should be scoring more than once in 9 matches. We should have players off the bench who can change the flow. But we don't. And that's why apathy is setting in. I mean, look around the stadium. Empty seats. Flat atmosphere. People leaving before the end. There's no anger anymore. It's just silence. Because deep down, the support can see where this is heading. And it's nowhere good. And off the pitch. Don't even get me started. Celtic Park is crumbling in some areas. Screen stuck on last season's results. Hot water doesn't work. Food's a joke. Drink machines broken for over a year. And that's all while the club reports record revenue. Record profits. It's not just lazy, it's disrespectful. The fans deserve better. You've got people at the club collecting massive salaries and bonuses, sitting on their phones during matches, while the team on the pitch looks lost and the stadium around them is falling apart. It's not just a football problem. It's cultural. It's top-down. And unless there's a massive shift in how we operate, from the boardroom to the dugout, it's only going to get worse. And that's what stings the most. Because not long ago, we had something. We had momentum. We had belief. We had a team that, even if flawed, was brave. That played with intensity. That gave the fans something to get behind. Now we're left watching a slow, methodical, joyless brand of football that goes nowhere. That inspires nothing. The job now isn't just about fixing the starting 11. It's about fixing the culture, rebuilding trust, restoring standards, on and off the pitch. That starts with being honest about where we are. We're not close to being a top European side. We're not even functioning as a dominant domestic force right now. And unless that changes quickly, we're going to find ourselves in a place where nights like last night become the norm, not the exception. We used to laugh at our rivals for falling apart after years of mismanagement. But the truth is, we're on our own slippery slope, just with a better bank account. And unless we wake up soon, it won't matter how much money we have in the bank or how many trophies are in the cabinet. The soul of the club, the bit that actually makes people care, is in danger of being lost. People say trust the process. But what process? What's the identity? What's the plan? Right now it feels like we're making it up as we go along. And the fans, who back the club through thick and thin, are the ones paying the price. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Former Celtic goalkeeper Joe Hart has stirred a storm in Scottish football circles after hanging up his gloves, launching a scathing assessment of his final days at Parkhead. In a candid outburst that has quickly turned into the talk of pubs and terraces alike, the Englishman, who only months ago was hailed as a stabilizing presence between the sticks, has now accused the Glasgow Giants of treating him as just another body to be moved on. The 37-year-old, who called time on his playing career earlier this year, did not mince his words when reflecting on how he feels he was ushered towards retirement. "I was discarded as if I was any old player, not someone who had given everything to the club," Hart was quoted as saying. For supporters who watched him celebrate titles and lift silverware, the remarks strike an unsettling chord, raising questions over how Celtic handle their veterans once their usefulness wanes. In a city where loyalty is weighed as heavily as silverware, Hart's outburst has opened up debate. Was he simply being ushered aside to make way for a younger, more modern keeper? Or was this another example of Celtic's boardroom failing to show the respect their servants deserve? Some insiders whisper that the decision had been made long before Hart himself admitted his body was winding down, with the club eager to usher in a fresh era. Others believe his frustration stems less from the reality of football's brutal cycle and more from a bruised pride. What cannot be denied is the impact of his words. Fans on both sides of Glasgow are chattering, some defending the club's right to move on quickly, others sympathizing with a veteran who feels cast aside. In a league where perception can be as important as points, Hart's comments will echo. Whether this rumor-laden storm is merely a flash of bitterness or the start of wider scrutiny into how Celtic handle their heroes remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. Joe Hart has ensured his retirement will not drift quietly into the background. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.